The first detainee from Guantanamo Bay was brought to this country today to stand trial on terrorism charges. Ahmed Ghailani arrived in New York and was brought to a federal prison in Manhattan. He was scheduled to appear before a federal judge on charges that he helped build the bombs used in the 1998 al-Qaeda attacks on the U.S. embassies in Kenya and Tanzania. 224 people were killed, including a dozen Americans in those attacks. This, of course, comes as President Obama plans to close Guantanamo Bay by next January and bring some of the suspects to trial. For more perspective on that plan, I talked earlier with Victoria Toensing. She was a Deputy Assistant U.S. Attorney General in the Criminal Division during the Reagan administration. She's now in private practice. I asked her for her view on closing Guantanamo 7 months from now.
Well, it's going to mean a catastrophe legally. The basic question is, what is he going to do with the 200 and some detainees that are at Guantanamo? He's brought back the military commission, which he had criticized during the campaign for the Bush administration for trying to use. But he says that he's going to put some of them into our federal criminal court system. That will be a disaster. And what's he to do with the rest of them, the ones he calls the difficult cases? He doesn't know yet. And that's the problem. So
catastrophe, disaster, they're both very strong words. Why is it that we cannot bring these suspects into the American criminal system in this country?
Martin, because we have developed so many protections in the federal criminal system for defendants who are accused of bank robberies, white-collar crimes, etc. And many more protections than we ever had during World War II. Like Miranda, for example, giving somebody the Miranda rights. That's not usually done on the battlefield. The Brady rule, which means that anybody who could possibly exculpate the defendant is supposed to be made available to the defendant. Well, you just can't do that in a military situation.
So the concern is that these people would not be punished if they deserve to be, that they would be let loose? I mean, what's the eventual concern?
Well, if you take that first category, if you bring them to the federal criminal courtroom and you can't get the right evidence, they've confessed but weren't given their Miranda warnings, for example, then what are you going to do with them? Let them loose on the streets of Albuquerque? Where do you put them then? What do you do with them? Or are you back into the same situation you had before you had the criminal trial?
And how many of those detainees could be brought or tried in federal courts? What numbers are we talking about?
I have no idea, because we don't know what the evidence is, but it seems like very few. Do you recall the Moussaoui case, which went on for years? We tried him in Virginia. He was supposed to be the 20th hijacker. He turned the court system into pretzels as far as I'm entitled to all the Brady people, and so I want everybody who might know about my involvement in al-Qaeda, including terrorists that you have in detention. I want them here as witnesses so they can tell what my role was or was not. I mean, it is a legal nightmare to try these people in the federal civil system.
Let me interrupt just for a second, because we're almost out of time, and I want to bring this up. With 20 seconds left, do you think that the world opinion of the United States would improve if the president did close Guantanamo?
Oh, well, I don't know that any feel-good thing, whatever we do, there would be something else that we did wrong. So I don't think that on balance, that it is important to close Guantanamo. What's important is that we give everyone there some kind of process, but not that rises to the situation in a federal courthouse, because we can't do it. It doesn't work for the battlefield.
Victoria Toensing, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Martin.